Hello, hello, hello. Can people hear me? So happy you guys can be here. Let me know if you can hear me and then we can get started. Just want to make sure that my microphone's working. Let me know if you can hear me and then we... Oopsies. There's an echo. Yes, hang on a moment, guys. I haven't done a live for a very long time, so you'll just... Just have to bear with me. Hang on a minute. All of my things are on. Can you hear me, guys? Oh, thank God. Okay. Yes. All right. Awesome. I'm glad you guys can hear me because sometimes it's just with these live things, you never know what can happen. So I'm glad. So welcome to all of you guys. As I said, I haven't done a live for a long time, so I'm happy to be here. How are you all going? I know we've had some people on the chat and now they've disappeared, but how are you guys going today? Oops, what's happened? And I got the poll on there. If anyone feels that Richard is guilty or innocent, you know, technically he's presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But, you know, it's interesting he's been apprehended now. So I've always felt they've got the right guy, but I also feel there's more than one involved. And it's just weird with the spirit session just recently as well, how, you know, it's been saying that, yes, it's him, and they kept saying that. And also with, also with the fact that they're saying there's other people. So how are you all going today? I'm not seeing, oh yes, Chihuahua says better today, thanks. Was a little shaky yesterday, and RA is guilty 100% in your opinion. Yeah, I think so. But, you know, it's really interesting hearing everybody's ideas on this. A lot of people believe he's been framed. So who has actually watched the spirit session that I recently did? I think it was done yesterday. And that blew my mind. So, yeah, it was just interesting what came through in that. I seriously thought that Libby was the one that was targeted. I'd always felt that she was the one that was targeted out of the two girls. But going by the spirit session, they were mentioning Abby so many times and saying, you know, basically in one conversation, they were basically saying that there was like a meeting with her, like they set it up with her. I'm going to go through it in a moment, you know, what was said in the spirit session, because a lot of people, you know, you guys are awesome too, because you actually open your mind to this kind of stuff and you can, you know, understand what clues might mean. And it's like a puzzle, which is annoying because, you know, people say, well, why can't spirit just come out and say, oh, it's this guy and he did this and he lives here, you know? It would be so damn better, you know? It would definitely help, wouldn't it, if that was the case? I don't know how it all works 100%. I really wish I had the answers. But for some reason, I guess it's the programs that they're used as well, like the apps and stuff. You know, they're going through so many different channels and stations. So I suppose they're just using the words through that they can. But yeah, once again, I don't have all the answers. All I know is that this is what's happened. This is what's coming through, and we just have to put the pieces together. And sometimes they are very clear answers as well. So thank you for those who did watch the session. If you haven't seen the spirit session recently, go and watch it. It's really interesting. It's really out there for a lot of people. I still think it's out there for me, you know, but it's something that it never ceases to surprise me, the stuff that comes out of these things. And as I said, I was so surprised they were focusing more on Abby than Libby. So hi, Sharon. Hi, Chihuahua. Who else have we got in the chat here? I know a few people are watching. Hi, Charlie. Is it Charlie? Sorry, Charlie. Thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on and saying g'day. And as I said, this is my first live on this channel. I haven't done a live for such a long time, even on my other channel. So it's really cool to connect again. I think the last one I did was on Jelani Day. And I know that there's been a few requests for me to do the Idaho 4. I only know the brief, just the basics really on that one briefly. Just that there was 4 students that were murdered. The guy they've got, some Brian guy, I think he used to go to the uni or something. I don't know much about it, but I will be happy to look into it for those who have asked me when I get the time to, because I'm seeing all these videos pop up from other YouTubers about this case, and it's just like overwhelming. Like there's so much stuff and information. So yeah, to do a case study would take a bit of time. But with this session, this session is live session. Today we're mainly talking about Abby and Libby and Richard Allen and the spirit session. You guys can ask anything you want. You can say whatever you want that you think's happened. I'd be really interested in hearing that, So can you still hear me, guys? And I'm absolutely interested in hearing from those who think Richard Allen is innocent. I really want to know why you think that. It's just fascinating to me why people think he's guilty, why people think he's innocent. Do you think he's been framed, or is there not enough evidence? Like, what do you think about this stuff? Okay, thank you for hearing me. Thank you for joining here, guys. Thank you for the newcomers as well coming on. We're talking about the spirit session. If you haven't seen it or heard it, you could go and see it if you like to. It's what we're talking about today. Just try and keep your mind open on this, guys, because it's just fascinating, how spirit work. I don't have all the answers. For those who did see the session, what did you mostly get out of that session? What do you think the message was mostly that spirit was conveying? Yes, Chihuahua says, LE have their man, in my opinion. Yeah, it interests me how there's supposedly this bullet casing that was found at the site. Hi, Jennifer. Lovely to see you as well. And you say the message to me was that there may be more people involved. Now, I would love to highlight your comments, but I don't think I can for some reason. My StreamYard's not showing your comments up, which is annoying. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I might just type in something and see if it will let you guys type in something. Doesn't support comments on private videos. My private videos? I don't get that. It's not private. Oh, my God. Let me just change something here, okay? I don't know what the hell's going on. I hope I haven't changed anything on the live right here. Yeah, so let me just see. I'll say it again because I just made it public. For some reason, it is public, I thought. Oh, yes, they're coming up now. Yay! Okay, they're coming up on my StreamYard, so I can actually highlight some of your comments, which will be awesome. Okay, guys, so you're saying that Jennifer says that the main point is that there are more involved. That's what Charlie is saying as well. What did Jennifer say? Oh, Jerry C. Hi, Jerry C. No, Charlie said that. I think the main point is they're more involved. Yes, yes, that's right. Yes, that's what I got mostly from that session as well. And, I mean, they were saying it so many times because when I'm doing the sessions, I can only hear bits and pieces that come out. That's why I question, constantly confirming, the questions like, how many were there, and is he the right guy? And I know it gets annoying having to hear it repeated and like that. I didn't realize until I heard back. I thought, oh, my God, it's annoying how many times I've asked. But because it's done over a matter of days, different sessions, I really want to confirm that spirit is being consistent and that if you're dealing with the other side, you have to test them, and you have to make sure that you're dealing with honest ones as well. So yeah, thanks guys for being here. So it's interesting, the session also stated like certain conversations that they reenact the scenario, and they do it a lot. They did it in the Carly Gousset case and the Tio one, I think. They reenact the scenario. They come through with the exact conversations that have been said, which is kind of creepy, but it's really, eye-opening. It's enlightening. So I'm going to go through the session, just not through the session on live. I'm not going to play it, but I am going to just go through what I've written down regarding what certain clues may mean. And I'd love to hear your take on it as well, guys. So far, just on this poll, we have 71% that say Richard Allen is guilty and 29% say he's innocent. I want to know, guys, why do you think he's innocent? Please let us know. It'd be amazing to hear that, because it might be something I'm not even thinking of, Yes, Charlie says 8 in planning and 4 kept coming up when asked about committing the crime. Exactly. And then one of the spirit also said there might be more, or there were more. So it kind of reminds me of like that, pedo ring, that there's like this whole circle or group of people who are maybe indirectly involved, who may know, who may have access to videos or tapes of the crime scene, but I feel like, yes, it does sound like there were 4 people directly involved, and it could be that there were 2 people that were setting it up on a computer, catfishing the girls, and that there were 2 with Richard Allen that day, because they said now there were 2 or something. So it's just so interesting. So how do you guys think the scenarios played out there? Do you believe it's that they were catfished? How do you think the girls, Richard Allen or the killer came across the girls? Was this just a random, impulsive, opportunistic crime? Do you believe that, or do you believe this was thoroughly planned out? Yes, Chihuahua. Yes, and his arrest came unexpectedly, Jennifer says. I don't think he's completely innocent, but his arrest came. Yes, it did come unexpectedly, very much so. And that's something that I also want to know. If they found a bullet casing as evidence at the crime scene, I don't know much about ballistics, but I would think that they would be able to know what kind of gun that goes with, that you'd think they would be searching their database for registered owners of a gun like that. Like, I just don't understand how the gun casing, the unspent bullet, came into play. Now, I found it interesting too that it's just so weird, okay? Because Spirit said stupid, he had his name on it. And I'm thinking, his name on what? Did he leave his name on something? Was it a surname? Because, if it was Richard Allen, they would have found him like ASAP. But maybe his surname was on something, or another killer's surname was on something, and they had to try and work out who does this belong to. That could be it. They kept going on about a book. Libby read books, but we're going to get into the clues just one by one, like in order of the session that I just went through, because it could actually bring things together. And Chihuahua and Jennifer says, I think they were catfished and it was well planned. Yes. Yep. Yes. Yeah, I feel that too. I've always felt that even before Kagan Klein was found. It was so interesting. I looked back on a spirit session I did in 2019, and the things that were coming through, like Bad Liar from Imagine Dragons was a song that kept coming through, and there was just other clues I can't remember exactly now. But I remember saying to the girls, and you can hear me saying, you were tricked, weren't you, girls, by somebody that you knew or that you thought you knew. And it was like they were meeting up with somebody. And in that particular video, you hear one of the girls saying, I enjoyed talking with him. And then they say January. And I'm thinking, well, you're talking to this guy since January. So it's just weird. It's strange. It's interesting. It's interesting. Okay. So would you like me to read through the clues and you guys can jump in as to what you think each one might mean? And then we'll get to the questions that you might want to ask for the next session, the next spirit session. Okay, Jennifer, yes, please. So in the very beginning of the video, the first voice that comes through says child sex. I don't know if I meant to say that word on here, but child sex, sext. It looks like it could have been sext, S-E-X-T, or child sex. But we do kind of realize, okay, these are these predators, okay, with young children, especially if it is related to a porn ring or Kagan Klein or anything like that. It could definitely be connected with that. So it's pretty self-explanatory with what a lot of us believe as the motive. And all through the spirit session, they're confirming that Richard Allen is the Delphi killer, but they keep saying there's more involved or responsible. And that's all the way through the 27-minute video, whatever it was, all the way through saying that. Hello to new people coming in. Welcome, guys. 334 at night was another message. Could it be 3:34 a.m.? Were there people? Because I think it was just straight after I asked were there other people involved. The voice says 3:34 at night. And I'm thinking 3:34 a.m. Were people still at the crime scene? Did they return to the crime scene? You know, is that what that means? Yeah, so what I found interesting is that every time I asked how many were involved, as somebody mentioned just before, they keep saying 8. And then they would say 4. So, yeah, it's very interesting. So it sounds like a very tight ring, like a small ring. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not 50 or more people, but they're saying there could be more. And talk about him being a dad. A couple of times it's come through about him being a father. And that's what I always have felt from day one in my tarot. It kept coming up that he was a family guy, married with children. And spirit once again is saying a dad. Now, could they be meaning another person in this group of people? Definitely could be, especially if they're in their 40s, 30s, 40s plus. They could definitely have a family or have had children. Now, the next one is Instagram. She says there's a woman's voice that comes in and says Instagram. Oh, no, she says he has an Instagram celebrating with Sarah. And I'm thinking, look, I don't remember exactly. I'd have to go back and look at it. But I know Kagan Klein has an Instagram or had one. And I'm pretty sure he had a girlfriend. I don't know what her name was, but it kind of rings a bell. Or was it somebody else who's got an Instagram? I'm not sure. But it's definitely showing maybe that was a catfish profile. It was an Instagram one. Whether it's KK, RA, or another perp. I mean, who really knows just yet? Now, they bring up pot smoking, bud. They don't use the word weed or marijuana, but they do say pot a lot, and they say bud. And he says here, some bud. What did he say? I'm in bed with her. Some bud may be a criminal code. And I'm thinking, is that a code like talking about buying weed or something? Is that about a child, you know? Is it about buying those videos around children and sharing them? Is that their criminal code? I mean, who knows? It could be numbers. Who knows what it is? Yes. Yes, Jerry says maybe 4 involved with 4 in custody. Could be. Now, I have to tell you, I just found it amazing. My jaw dropped. Probably throughout the whole session anyway, my jaw dropped. But this part really made my jaw drop. When the spirit says, I see Jeep, the first thing I'm thinking of is that photo of Kagan Klein's Jeep or his dad's Jeep, whoever's that is. There's a red Jeep. And further down the track in this spirit session, I asked the colour of the car and they say red. So even though we know Richard Allen drove like a blue-grey car, it's not to say that there's not another perp with that kind of Jeep, you know, car. So I just find it interesting that they mentioned Jeep twice. Yeah, and then they talk about a gun a few times. So they've mentioned gun, which we now know he had a gun. So naked fire, did it mean he burnt evidence, you know? Or is there an issue, you know, around fire? I know some people think of the Flora fires. Yeah, but it's interesting they also mentioned that the father gets them, the boys, a Jeep. And I'm thinking the father, which father, who's the boys, whose Jeep is it? And it's funny, it says gets them. It doesn't say buys them. It doesn't say buys them a Jeep, gets them a Jeep, like something to use. And then we do hear a reenactment of a conversation that has been taken, okay, between Ricky, and they call him Ricky, which is interesting, which means it's personal. It's not formal like Richard. They call him Ricky. So this is the conversation coming through. He's fine, Ricky. Yeah, high. There's nothing out here better hide. Now, you could say, okay, high could be high on drugs. Someone's saying he's fine, Ricky. It's a high bridge. He'll be fine on there. We don't know. It's kind of reminding me of that. Yeah, it's high. He'll be fine on it. So they might be talking about someone else. There's nothing out here. Like, there's no one out here, we can hide well. And Abby steps in, like they're saying, Abby having fun up home in heaven. So I thought that was beautiful that she's come through with that message. And she even says hello. And it's funny because they do come through, obviously, in the app's voices. They don't sound exactly like they would have, but sometimes they do when they come through with their own EVPs. When I asked how did they, I can't remember the exact question, but I said something along the lines of how did they know, what were their connection with the girls or how were they there? Or did he, Chihuahua? TK sold the Jeep? Did he? I did not know that. Wow, okay. Because it's interesting, isn't it? Because further down the tarot, the spirit session, spirit mentioned complete auto, Riley autos. They're talking about like a detail or something on a car or something. Anyway, spirits say that the girls were at a female's house. I remember vaguely, you'd have to correct me, but I'm sure it was that they were at a slumber party at a girlfriend's house, weren't they? Vaguely remember something like that. And then it says something about take a map of the area or take a map of it or something. So I'm thinking someone has obtained a map of the area or they've mapped it out as a plan where their exit routes are and where their entry, where they can enter the scene. So it makes sense that if there's a few people involved, they're going to have a plan involved here. They're definitely going to have a plan. And I do feel that to a degree this definitely was planned. I feel like, well, in my opinion, I think it was thoroughly planned out. Yeah. So what do you guys reckon? Do you think this was thoroughly planned? Excuse me, or like an impulsive crime? Or both? I might go into this one. They were at somebody's house. I can't remember how the whole thing played out. I think they slept over at Aunt Tara's house Friday after football, and a late movie. Okay. Excuse me. A little congested today. Now, it was planned out, Jerry C. says. And Chihuahua, it was planned. Yes, planned out. Everyone agrees that this was like a planned out crime here. And then Spirit says they said pot helps, okay? Pot meaning weed helps, could be referring to the catfisher saying to the girls, like, we can bring you some, because straight after it says about the drugs, like they brought it there or they bring it there to the bridge. So I'm thinking young girls, I was talking to Chihuahua about this, that young teenage girls, they experiment. I remember myself being around that age, smoking behind my parents' back, and you just think it's cool. And I mean, if it's available in the family, if one of the family members smoke it, maybe it's not so foreign to them, but it could be that they could get it free from a boy. Like, we just don't really know what the incentive was for them thinking they might get something. If somebody is a predator trying to connect with a child, they're going to want to lure them in with something. They're going to say, I've got this for you. Like the grooming thing. It can be a grooming thing when they want to give presents or give something. So that's why I'm thinking, when it kept mentioning a book, I'm thinking, did they say that, we've got a book for you or something like that? Libby was a reader. So I don't know. Yeah, it's very interesting. And Jennifer says, I think they were offered something like pot. Yes, payment in pot. Yeah, interesting. Yes, could be. Sunday they played ball and shopped with Abby's grandpa, and then they went to Libby's Sunday night. Okay. So it could be that over that weekend, if they were at a slumber party, they've, girls together could be getting on social media and chatting with cute boys. You just don't know. I have a strong feeling Richard Allen was a roundup guy and others will look out. So maybe one or more ready and waiting at the crime scene. Yes, that's what Charlie says. And that makes a lot of sense as well. What? Jerry says, actually, Abby was supposed to go and pick up money from her house, but did not. Really? Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, geez. Excuse me. I have to have a water. My throat's a little bit funny. But, well, I wonder what the money was for. I mean, it could be anything. But thank you to those who are here, guys. Thank you for jumping on board and everything and giving your opinions. I really love hearing it. Yeah. Now, it's interesting. Spirit said he might live. Is there a death penalty over there? I don't know. It's just interesting. Like, he might live. And, yeah, what's the clue to our... Yeah, Kagan admitted to looking in the window at the party. Did he? Oh, my God, I don't remember that. Unless he's talking about other people. Wow, I've never heard that. But that would be creepy. Yeah, definitely a link if that's the case. I mean, he admitted to... I think he admitted to speaking to Libby that day, but she never showed up or something. I can't remember. Maybe he didn't. I'd have to reread the transcript. I think he may have denied it, actually, saying that he didn't know because there's so many girls he talked to or whatever. But somebody had said that he was to meet up with them, but they never showed. So, interesting. The shack comment from Carter was a massive clue. Is it a book? They keep going on about a book, I know it's a movie, isn't it? So there is a death penalty in Indiana, Charlie says. Wow. Well, that's interesting with the comment. Spirit says he might live. Okay, so the next thing they say is, I love me and you. That's a reenactment of a conversation. I love me and you. I love me and you. So someone has said that, I think, as pretending to be a boy, saying this to one of the girls. And this is freaking weird. I don't know. This made my jaw drop, seriously. When Spirit said, right, someone said this to Ricky because it says here love bomb. Now, do you know what love bomb means, guys? When somebody love bombs you. Because somebody told Ricky, because it says Ricky, it even says his name in here, to love bomb the girls. So he might be messaging the girls. Could be a catfish. It could be someone else. But it's saying love bomb. And then it said Abby. I feel Abby was the main target for some reason because it said, this is what they said, Ricky, Abby's on board. And then it said, and I think it meant meaning they've set up the meeting. Like she's on board with it. Bloody hell. And it said karma, like what the hell? So it said they've set up the meeting at the Monon, and it said karma because basically what it was saying is, oh God, I get chills thinking of it. It said, what did it say? It said Ricky's on board, and it said take with you. No, what did it say? I can't remember the exact words now. It said something like take anyone that bitch has with you. Oh, my God, that just freaked me the hell out. So when it said that, it tells me that they have been speaking with Abby. And I always thought it was Libby. But Abby, it could have been Libby and Abby, but they're focusing on Abby for some reason. And the fact that they say, Rick, Abby's on board, take anyone that bitch has with you. So maybe in some way, and I know it sounds horrible, but when we're talking in this terminology, Libby may have been the collateral damage. Maybe she wasn't the one targeted. And the fact it says karma, I'm thinking, does Rick, Richard Allen know if it is him? Okay, I have to say allegedly because I have to keep saying that, allegedly, until he's proven guilty. But, yeah, I just find it very interesting. Does he know the family? Does he know Abby's family? Does he know... Like, why would there be a target on Abby? Was it just, was it just a random catfishing young girls in Delphi, or was there an actual plan to target her for some reason? I don't know why the karma word's coming in. It's just weird. I don't know who Abby's daddy is. It says a few times about a daddy. So I'm not sure, but it's really strange because in the very beginning, when I ever learnt about this case back in 2017, when I looked at, the news and saw the parents and different things, I instantly felt there was something hazy and dark around Abby's family. And I'm not saying that it's fact, right? I just felt it. I don't know. And I always had the feeling there was like an uncle figure it could have been connected with. But who knows until we know. Now, Jennifer says, my gut says he knows Abby's family. So interesting. Yeah, I have felt that. But then obviously I switched because of the stuff that came out with Kagan and the Anthony Shots profile and Libby being the one in contact. It kind of just makes you go down that direction, very interesting. So Chihuahua says, yes, when it's a number of people or a person sending you numerous messages to woo you. Yes, that's what love bombing means as well, is when you could imagine a teenage girl having this cute guy, on profile, on social media, saying all the right things and being, lovey-dovey, and it's like your crush, right? They might have been crushing on this guy. And for him to say, like, flirt with them could make them really feel, good and giddy and all that kind of stuff. Jennifer says, me too with the uncle. Wow. Who's the uncle anyway? Does anyone know, or is it just a word that's come up, What? Chihuahua says uncle lived 2 doors up from RA? Are you serious? That's, oh my God, what, Abby's uncle? Oh, that's crazy. Wow, that's crazy. Charlie says Abby's dad is the only one who has not spoken publicly at all. Yeah, I thought, where is he? Where's this guy? Is he even in the picture? Like, is he deceased or something? Because where is he? Yeah, wow. Yeah, David has been mentioned all through spirit sessions, even if you look back on the earlier ones. They say David, like constantly. And it's always been Dave, Richard, Ricky. No, it doesn't say Ricky, it says Rick. In the old sessions, it would say Rick, Richard, Sam, Dave. They were the main ones coming through. It's just crazy. Thanks for those who have joined us, guys, today. We are talking about Abby and Libby's spirit session. Please keep your eyes and ears and minds open on this because it is weird. I have to say it's weird. Like, even though I do them, I still find it strange, like how, oh my God, it's so clear and things are just crazy how they have actually come to light now. Far out. I don't know if you saw the spirit session compilation that I put on maybe 2 videos or so ago. I can't remember. But it said spirit knew his name. They knew his name, and they said he had blue eyes and a serious persona. He was married. They're talking about that they fucked up at the bridge. Oh, hello. They did, didn't they? Because somebody left evidence there. So, wow, Oh, and also the fact that Libby filmed him. Hello. Like, that's a major thing. Excuse me. So the girls confirmed that they were messaged by the killer because they said he messaged me on it. Yeah. So, wow, and I'm thinking, with this day and age, with being able to track down cell numbers and text messages and all kind of correspondence, you'd think that it would be so easy for the FBI or whoever's involved to track that down. But, this is why these guys get away with it. These porn rings, they're extremely clever. They are able to just delete things, don't leave a digital footprint. They go on the dark web. It's pretty intensive stuff here. It's really quite scary how much they know. So someone's good with computers, obviously. And we've always felt there's someone in authority. Like, we have always felt that from day dot, a lot of us. So do you guys still believe there is like a cop involved, police corruption? Did RA or the killer dress up as a policeman? I actually feel like he has come through with some kind of authority. And yeah, a person in authority. It's interesting. Spirit said too, like David saw them a bad cop, and that's why they were on Ron Logan's property or something. So I'm thinking it's either that they're hiding from the cops, or there's a cop involved or something. I really didn't understand that too clearly, what that was saying. And about Ron Logan, I still don't believe he's involved, but I had to ask it because somebody asked me the question, why were they on his property? And when I asked Spirit, does Ron Logan know, or did he know they were on his property, they said he didn't know, which makes sense to me because I don't know why you would self-incriminate. You know, why would you incriminate yourself by leaving 2 dead bodies on your property, knowing that police and searchers and everyone and families are going to be searching for them the next day? It just does not make sense. You'd have to be a dumbass. Like, seriously, I don't get it. But I'm telling you now, this person, I believe, knows or knew Ron Logan. Because why the hell would you go onto somebody's private property knowing that at any time or any minute you could be caught by that person who owns the property? And I know private properties are massive, you know, and it was down a hill kind of thing. But you're still risking it, aren't you, going on someone's private property? Now, you guys will be able to tell me, can somebody shoot somebody if they're on their private property? I know they can in America. Not here in Australia, they can't, but if someone's on your private property, do you have the right to shoot them? Because that would have been another risk for the killer, to go on someone's private property, risk being caught, especially when he had so much time with the girls. That's somebody who's very confident in what they're doing, knowing they're not going to get caught. So either the person who owns the property knew they were there, or the person knew Ron's movements, knew how to get there. I'm telling you now, when people, especially criminals, right, killers, kill somebody and they leave their body somewhere, it's always, most always, somewhere that they're familiar with. They don't just go into a private property unless they kind of know the area or know the person or are familiar with that area. So how many times has the killer been on that property? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like this was the first time that person has been there. It doesn't make sense to me. So, interesting, 2 hours says, I still look at that pic of when they retrieved those boots from Indiana Packers, and then the info from Stevenson's case that is linked has a truck involved. Yeah, very interesting. I'd like to look into that case as well and see what the similarities, well, as much as we can. We don't have the info, you know. But, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. And it's interesting you mentioned Boots, Chihuahua, because further down in the spirit session, the spirit says he found them or something. So, no, she says, who found them? And she says, he'll boot you. So I'm thinking, what's it about the boots with the person who found them? Because sometimes when a person in the search team finds a victim, sometimes, not always, but sometimes they are actually the person who did it. Because perpetrators will actually be a part of the search team. They can be a lot of the time, be those who get in front of a camera. You know, they want to know what's going on, so they'll talk to the family. They'll be in the search team. You know, that kind of thing could have happened. Yeah, could have happened. What else are we up to? So they confirmed they were messaged. Yes, it says numerous times they were catfished. Someone gave the address and then received a thumbs up. So it sounds like, because the girl says, it sounds like a girl's voice too, actually, says, I gave him the address, thumbs up. So that's text usually, isn't it? When, well, I think it's all via text. Otherwise, if they were in, you know, they're obviously not in person with this, you know, they're not in face-to-face with him doing a thumbs up. But I feel like there was an address given, like, how about we meet here? It's safe here. He actually says, when I said, what did he say to the girls? It says, it's safe here. Thursdays is cool. I'm thinking, holy shit, they're trying to make a date and a day to meet up on a Thursday. And he's talking, oh, well, I don't know if it was him or they're trying to say it was the girl that said Thursdays is cool. It sounds very much like a teenager talking, cool, you know, it's cool to meet up on this day. So, and it's elusive address, they were saying as well. Yeah. So it's very interesting. And it said boy kiss. So they might have thought, okay, this hot guy, you know, she says, they actually reenacted the conversation where the girl says, hey, do you like him? It'll be safe here, or we'll be safe here. And then when I said, what did the guy say to them? He says, it's safe here. So it's almost like they have been given information where they feel that, oh, we can go to this really, you know, secluded place with him and we'll be safe there, and nobody will know what we're doing, you know, if they're going to be smoking pot, or just, it's a little bit of that naughty kind of behavior, like going behind the scenes and just doing something you may not really be meant to be doing, but it's kind of the thrill and excitement of meeting a boy. It's just that kind of feeling. Yeah, it's interesting. So people are talking about Garrett's boots, Garrett Kurtz. Flannel shirt guy and his brother are the caretakers of the bridge and trail system, Charlie says. Interesting. Okay. I'd like to know more about them. Because someone says that one of their names is Dave. What's the other guy's name? Like his brother. What would his brother's name be? Oh, gosh. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this and then we can get into questions. Okay, guys. So she says, how do you like him? We'll be safe here. And I feel like they were saying that to each other. And Spirit just kept calling, well, they were saying Richard Allen is evil, coward, a pussy for doing that to girls. You know, whoever it is a coward. Yeah, and then it said his daddy get them boys a Jeep. Thinking, what? Interesting. And then I said, how many victims does the Delphi killer have? It just said 8. It just kept saying 8 for different things, which I do believe the Delphi killer has killed before. Who believes the killer has killed before? Or do you think this was his first time? And I wonder too, because they say that they're usually at crimes, there are disorganized offenders or organized offenders. And disorganized offenders usually are very impulsive. They make mistakes. Organized offenders really just carefully and methodically plan it out. And that's what this one seemed like to be. For, you know, to me, it seemed very organized. I mean, just the fact that he sat there for an hour or however long, I don't know, and posed the bodies, staged a crime scene, tells me he's very comfortable and relaxed, you know, in that setting as well. And Jennifer says, I say he has killed before because he moved too swiftly without hesitation. Yeah, exactly. He just honed in straight away. Okay. And funny thing is, in the last spirit sessions, it's so weird. Like, it kept saying fish. And I'm thinking, what's the bloody, you know, reference to fish? Like, it just said fish, fish, fish all through it. And I'm thinking, is he a fisherman? You know, and then when I heard that he said to someone, I was looking at the fish, I was just like, oh, that's what it is. That's what they're talking about. Okay, so what else have we got here? So Spirit actually comes right out and says R.A. killed the girls, basically. And that's what cops said. And, oh, yeah, when they say had with him a black beast, and then straight after they're talking about a gun. So I think they're talking about a black gun. What do you guys reckon? A black beast? Yes, and he nearly had this, which is he nearly got away with it. And then Spirit says police called it, found his gun, took it out of his safe. So they called it in. And they say others were involved. We got the names David, Jeff, Sam, Scott, Bart. Even Bart was mentioned, and that's KK's stepbrother. Now, I don't believe he's involved, but I mean, we don't really know at the end of the day. But I just found that fascinating that name came through. Jim is another name that came through. Isn't that a shortened version of Jerry? Or am I wrong? I don't know. But, yeah, Jeremy, Jim, Jimmy, James, Jeremy, Jerry, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. So I know, isn't Tony Klein's first name Jerry? I don't know, guys, this is bizarre. And so in Nevada, it says pressure from Rick paid him. Now, Kagan Klein used to go to Nevada a lot, and he's actually got a video on his music video, securing the bag or something, or secure the bag it's called, which is securing money. It's making the dollar. And the fact that he has a video showing all these hotted up cars going out in the desert and meeting up with another car, doing a transaction basically, makes me wonder. So it's saying in Nevada, there's pressure from Rick. So Rick wants to get paid for something. That's what it sounds like here, allegedly. Okay, this is just what I'm putting together from these clues. It's just so bizarre. So I'm thinking, is there a connection between him and Kagan? You know, Kagan being a catfisher. He's saying, I want to be paid for this. Yeah. It was just so bizarre. And we know that he made, you know, Kagan Klein made trips to Nevada. And he had a video about it, and he used to, you know, apparently sold weed in Nevada and Las Vegas and all that that he went to. And how do we know that that wasn't part of the criminal code, right? That Spirit talk about some bud, and they say it's a criminal code. So maybe he did sell weed, but maybe he was selling other things as well. Somebody may have been, gosh, and maybe a Jeep for payment. Yeah, you never know, Jerry. You never know. Because straight after they're talking about an auto company, new parts, you know. So I'm thinking, is somebody selling a car around the time of the murders? Did they do up a car? Is someone's surname Riley, or is there an auto mechanic around there? You just wonder. Or is someone a mechanic? Work with cars, you know. And then it said Lunning Chapel, which is a funeral parlor, I'm pretty sure. And I thought, isn't that interesting? They're talking about religion a lot of these times, and a lot of people over the time, it might have been rumors, have been talking about religion or some cult or something. I'm not sure. But I just found that interesting how one of the women spirit, you know, the spirit voice comes through saying pastors are sick. So, yeah, it's just bizarre. And she's saying that there's like a program, a foundation of abusers. Now, we would know what that is. It's a ring of people who are sick-minded, are abusers behind the scenes. Yeah. Maybe, what does Jerry say? That LE guy that Kagan knows in Nevada killed himself. Oh, did he? Was that the cop? Was that the cop? I can't remember. Yeah, it's interesting. I remember hearing something along those lines. So then another clue. Oh, my God, Jerry. Is it really? Holy crap, I've got to check that out. Jerry says Riley Auto Parts is an automotive store in Indiana. Oh, my Lord. That's just giving... I got the goosebumps just now. Holy moly. Far out. I'm just... Wow. Wouldn't it be amazing to see Facebook's check-in somewhere on someone's, you know, profiles? Now, this is the weird thing, right? They say southern and white. Now, I'm hopeless with geographic. Sorry, guys. I'm in Australia. I don't really know. I'm a bit naive with this stuff. Is southerners not in Indiana, are they? It'd be more, I think, Kentucky or something. Can you please confirm for me who is a southerner? Like, what kind of areas are there? I would have to look it up. Silly me. But, yeah, I just find it interesting. They said southern and white. And they're saying a Boilermaker as well. So I think that's someone else obviously involved. And they're saying at the stables. So we know that Richard Allen went to the stables, and they say the shortest. Well, he's damn short, like 5'4". He's short. He's probably the shortest out of the group. Who knows, but he might be. Indiana is not southern. The southern part does start around Kentucky, which is damn interesting. Isn't that where the Stevenson's case was? In Kentucky? I think it was. That is interesting because they feel that, you know, the cops are saying that there may be a link from the Kentucky, the Stevenson's case to the Delphi case. Now, that really interests me. And another thing is they were talking about that Stevenson's case, saying that there's truckers that Bill Stevenson used to go to the truck stop or something. I don't know what he was doing there, but I just briefly have heard about it. So he said something about there's DNA that they want to find all these truckers or something. And I'm thinking it's interesting because in my last tarot spirit sessions, I should say, back in 2019, they kept talking about a truck and a trucker and truck parts and stuff. So I don't know. It's all weird. Bill had a ministry where he prayed with truckers. Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Yes, okay, that makes sense. So somebody, because that was personal, I'm telling you. I feel that this person obviously knew the Stevensons to be able to get into that gated community, to get into their house, spend hours there once again, feeling comfortable in that. It's just interesting. And then to be at Delphi, you know, apparently there's an item that links, as far as I remember, I'd have to read back on it, but I'm pretty sure they said there's an item that was, you know, maybe at the crime scenes. So when we're looking at, you know, Spirit are mentioning a book in this one. So I said to Chihuahua, what if there's a book? What if the killer left a book at each crime scene, and that's the item that the cops, you know, want to know why someone that they have had their eye on wants to know why they've got that particular item. Is it a book? I mean, who damn knows? Like, it could be anything. There's so many things in the world. But I just found that interesting that they mentioned that in the session. Yeah, so, yes, they definitely knew them. This is personal. And that's why I always felt with Abby and Libby, it's personal. I don't know why I felt that. I've just always felt that it's personal. Yes, Chihuahua, absolutely. Yes. So apparently the killer posed the bodies. It was a staged crime scene at the Stevensons. And they were like in their 70s, I think. And he turned upside down all their photos or something. He turned certain photos. He put some photos down. He left some up. So that sounds personal, like, oh, I don't like these people in the family, but I like these ones. Or was it just his way of throwing off police? I mean, who knows what his brain's like? But yeah, it's just weird stuff. And apparently, Bill Stevenson was having an interaction with someone, a conflict with somebody who had a very different view on religion. So that could be somebody who's into spirituality, paganism, could be anything. But it's interesting there's been some kind of conflict with that. And then Spirit said, and this is weird, engraving hands, he knows her. So did somebody engrave something into the girl's hands with a knife? Was it a symbol? Was it an initial in the girl's hands? Did that happen with the Stevensons where they had something engraved in their hands? It may not be, but it's just interesting that's coming up. Engraving hands could be a tattooist. Could have, tattoos. It could be a signature that he's left behind. And it sounds like in the spirit session that two people are talking about hiring Rick because he's an expert on it. And yeah, I'm not sure what he'd be an expert on, but it's like they say that, like, must we have him? And then the other one says, yeah, but he's an expert on it. And this is the other thing. They kept saying doctor and prescription in certain areas. And you know, we know that Richard Allen has a pharmacy connection. And this is weird. A victim, I felt like it was a victim coming through saying he took her heels, meaning her shoes. That would be a trophy or a souvenir. And yeah, so crime is their fuel source, so they get off on it. And the killers are obviously narcissistic and cause a great deal of damage. What would you say? Oh, wow, there was a rumor about the bodies being carved. Interesting word, isn't it? Carved, like he's engraved something into them, into their bodies, which is leaving his mark. So what do you guys reckon? Do you think the Stevensons case could be linked to Delphi? Because somebody has called them, and those in Kentucky, the police department, and stated that the crime scenes are similar. So obviously it'd be someone in the know, most likely in law enforcement. who has done that. So then the spirit says notation was written. So something was written down, was it? Something has been written down, like notes. Yes, I'm just seeing through my things here. Free shipping. This is interesting too, because when I said why were they there, it just said free shipping, elusive address, won't cost them anything to have 2 copies of books or something. And I'm thinking, what the hell's that? So they have been given copies of a book. I mean, if this guy's a fanatic, okay, about his religion or philosophy or whatever the hell it is, I mean, if he is weird in the mind like that, it could have been that he was, telling them about this book and he wants people to jump on board with it. We obviously know that he was going to kill them anyway. But it's something. I feel like there's something there. Luring them in. As I said, he has to lure them in with an incentive. So he's going to say to them, I've got this for you, and they're and it's free. You don't have to pay me anything for it. And he may have gotten something off Amazon. Like there might be a digital trail with that. So it's interesting. And Chuao is saying DNA or staged crime scene is 100% the connection or how they were killed with the Stevensons and the Delphi. Jennifer's saying it could be a Bible left behind or a carving. Yes, interesting. How do we know it wasn't a quote from a book or like a Bible? Was it a psalm or something? We don't really know, do we? But it's good to be able to talk about it, try and work this out. My God, it's a crazy thing. Yeah, so I think the girls were drugged. And it makes sense if it's Richard Allen that he's bringing drugs from his pharmacy because, sleeping tablets or something to drug them with, or maybe they were off their head with pot, but do you remember that it was stated in that, I don't know what it was, affidavit or something, I can't remember what you called it now, but it was stated that the girls did not put up a fight. They did not struggle or fight. And I'm telling you, if you're getting killed, you're going to have defensive wounds because you're going to fight for your life. Now, I think they didn't fight because I feel they were drugged. And it's interesting, Spirit said, when I said, why were they put on Ron Logan's property? He said, took her, she out of her head. And I'm thinking, when you're out of your head, you're intoxicated or something. That makes so much sense to me that he's a coward. He would drug them. So, they wouldn't scream. There'd be no struggle. Wouldn't bring attention to the area, if there's other people around. What do you guys reckon? Do you think that makes sense? Hi, Stephanie. So there's different ones coming in. Stephanie says, yes, I think he's guilty. I don't think he planned to kill them, though. I think Libby's target, she looked like his daughter. Yeah, I mean, that was so bizarre. That was eerie, actually. Seeing especially that photo of his daughter on the bridge a year later. Like, what the hell? That was just creepy. And that poor girl, she's now going to have that on her back. Now people looking at her like she's Richard Allen's daughter. So, and it's just interesting to me as well, because when I asked Spirit, did anybody recognize Richard Allen as being bridge guy before they found him or arrested him? And then, so amazing, but Spirit says, yes, he has a family. Like, hello, he has a family. And they say his family recognized him. They call him daddy. So I'm thinking, is it the children of the family? Maybe it was a wife, because even wives can say, oh, go ask daddy or, whatever to the kids. But, yeah, they're saying his family recognized him. Yeah. So Stephanie's saying he could have pulled a needle out of a pocket and jabbed them in the neck. Yes, that's right, Jennifer. The similarities between the Stevensons and Delphi was that it was staged and the killer stayed for a long time at the crime scene. I understand, absolutely. I'm going to go back, but there's definitely an item. There's something the cops are saying. There's actually something physical, an item that one of the guys they've been vetting and have actually had their eye on, they've actually questioned him why he has that item. And apparently he's given some explanation as to why. I don't know what the hell it is. They're not revealing what it is. But, yes, the similarities, staging, the time they spent there is exactly similar, I feel, to Delphi. But there's an extra thing, which is an item, which is evidence. So, yes, I just want to know what it is. I want to know. I'm so curious. Yeah, so you know what? Then Spirit says, hold the cat. Did the killer bring a cat or a kitten? I mean, why would you if you're just going to kill them anyway? I don't really believe it, but it's weird. Hold the cat could be, Richard Allen had cats in his house. His wife was a vet, I'm pretty sure. So he had cats and dogs. There might have been cat hair. Wasn't there a hair fiber or something, or animal hair at the scene, I should say? Something along those lines. And Spirit says he's got a knife. Well, I'm not surprised, People are going to carry a knife with them. That's what killers will do. And I already said I had seen he had a knife. Spirit Session had said he had a knife. In the background, I could hear knives being sharpened. It was so creepy. So I do believe he had a knife. And I'm pretty sure, well, Spirit said he stabbed Abby. But I'm pretty sure Garrett Kurtz, on one of his interviews with Open Secrets, had actually stated that Michaela, Libby's cousin, had told him, right, because she would have had some info through the family. If this is true, I don't know. But he said that Michaela had told him that there was so many stab wounds on the bodies, they lost count of them. Now, that is rage, I'm telling you. That sounds like rage. And even Spirit said, I'll hurt you. Ricky Allen, they're saying, has said, I'll hurt you, and that he was really pissed off. He lost it. So, yeah, I reckon, the killer had a temper on him as well. Oh, I feel Chihuahua says would have been impossible for RA to get drugs. I don't know. I mean, he could have had them at home. He could have had his own medications at home that he brought with him. Yeah, I don't feel it would be that difficult to get a hold of things, especially if it was for his own medical condition, if he had one. I think he did have one. That's just my personal belief that he had something he may have been medicated for. She's seen footage that Michaela, she told people she's seen footage. Yeah, I think there was that as well. And Ashley Garth apparently said she'd seen a video of it too. So it sounds like it's either false, what they're saying, or something's dodgy and been getting around through people. Somehow they've gotten this. And then he was saying that Jason Palladino, or whatever his name was, he says that he was one of the people responsible for Delphi. So is there a connection there? I don't know. Is he one of those people? We don't know. Could be. I mean, Garrett probably lies. He does lie. We know that he says something and then the next minute says something else. But, yeah, I mean, he had a connection with Ron Logan. He had a connection with the bridge. He had a connection with Libby's cousin. It's just interesting. And also his friend Austin was the boyfriend of Michaela, Libby's cousin, and Kagan Klein had shared Austin's post the day after on Bridge Guy. So I'm thinking, what the hell? Small world. Yes, it is a small world, but who knows if there's connections? They were into drugs. You just don't know. You don't know. Ashley Garth's father is friends with Anna Williams. So there's just so many connections. It's just bizarre. Spirit said about a new or a blue house and bridge and find him. So I'm thinking, is there another perpetrator they're talking about? Obviously, Richard Allen has already been caught. He's in custody. But are they saying there's another house near a bridge or near the bridge? Find him, the other perp? Yeah, they all know each other somehow, Jennifer. They definitely know each other somehow. Spirit agreed there is police corruption. I don't know too much about that. I really haven't dived deep into that stuff. But I have always felt there was some kind of connection with authority. Either Bridge Guy was pretending to be a cop, or there's a bad cop involved, something like that. But they also said that Spirit said they made faults. They made mistakes, basically. Their fault at the bridge down in the woods. So maybe the police, what did they say? Small town Indiana, they didn't have the resources or the knowledge on how to deal with such a crime on this massive scale or something. On this massive scale. So it could be that, or it could be that there is corruption. But, apparently there was mistakes made. They called the search off early or something. People are saying that. Did they question the witnesses correctly? There might have been mistakes made in the very beginning, which has allowed these people to get away with this for so long. And please, what do you guys reckon? Why, when they found the bullet, which they would have found as evidence when they found the bodies, because the bullet, apparently the unspent bullet, was found between the girls' bodies, why did they not, why are they saying now that that is like a link to going to Richard Allen's and finding the gun? Like, why wouldn't they do that initially? And what has he got his name on? Like, was it his surname, Allen, on something? Was it engraved in the bullet? Was it on a book? I don't know. But it's interesting they're saying he was stupid because he had his name on something. But I'm telling you, in order for the cops to do a search warrant, they would have to have probable cause. They would have to have some other evidence to show a judge as to why they need to go to that house and look in there and search for what they want. So somebody, I think it was Kagan. It's just interesting that Kagan Klein got interviewed. He had a plea deal or something happened, and the river was checked, and I'm not joking, not long after that, Richard Allen is caught. So there's something I feel that the cops finally got that says, now we've got something to go there and check this out. I don't believe that, it could be true that he stole his neighbour's tools, but it just never sat right with me. I think there's something else going on. And maybe the cops don't want people to know that they're getting their intel from somebody in the system already. They have like an informant kind of thing, It sounds like it's kind of like that kind of scenario. I don't know. What do you guys reckon about it? Stephanie says the only other person I think could be involved is Kagan Klein since he catfished Libby. I think he gave Libby info to Alan. Yeah, it makes sense he'd give that. Yes, absolutely. And I think they also targeted Abby in that way because maybe, Libby, even though they're so young, and I'm not saying Abby's not switched on, but I feel like Libby, she just seemed much older than her years. Like she might have been a little more suspicious about things. Whereas Abby might have just been seen as the weak link. I'm not sure. It could have been that, or it could just be that, they know her family somehow. Can you hear me? I think I've gone offline. Oh, no, it's okay. I think I'm back. Chadwell's name is James. Yes, very true, Jerry. Absolutely. And who knows? Some people still believe that he could be linked. Absolutely. Oh, he's a bloody scary dude, that one. I mean, look at his tattoo. It looked like Libby. It was scary as hell. So thanks, guys, for being here. Welcome. We're doing a discussion on Abby and Libby and the case and the spirit sessions and any questions you guys might have. So I'm just looking at, then Spirit said a beating. So, there was probably blunt force trauma used. There would have been a beating of the girls, no doubt. And it's so weird because I thought it said healthy, bought at eggplants. I'm thinking, what the hell? That's so random. But is somebody a vegetarian? Like, if somebody in Delphi was watching this and thought, oh, my God, that's weird. I've suspected this person and just recently they bought eggplants. I mean, it sounds so far-fetched, but it's just weird. It's just so weird. You never know. You never know what these clues are. It's just bizarre. Why can't they just give a name? It'd be making it much easier. Yes, and one of the names came through, Cheyenne. And somebody said that there was a Cheyenne on the bridge that day. Yes, it's like this layer. It's like going down a rabbit hole, Jennifer. Absolutely. Like, this is the most interesting case. And everything that happens brings up something else. That's because I feel like there's like this web, like the web of all these, links to all these different people, these players involved. Eggplants is a euphemism for male private parts. Oh, my God, is it? Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I never knew that. And somebody, I think it was Charlene, said that she said it doesn't say healthy, it says David. So, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and Cheyenne came through the name. So I don't know what her link is with it, whether she was just a witness or what. Did she see anything? this is the craziest thing. When I asked if Ron Logan knew Richard Allen, Spirit says yes, they met each other down at the pub. Like down the pub. I was like, what the heck? When I heard that, I thought, what? And then I thought, well, you know what? They did not live that far from each other. Delphi seems like a pretty fairly small town. I'm really not that sure, but they don't look like they live that far from each other because he lives not far from the bridge. And I'm thinking Ron Logan was a drinker and Richard Allen was regularly at his local tavern or pub. So it could be a coincidence that they did meet each other at some stage in their lives, okay, that they did cross paths. It may not be that this was a plan in place with Ron Logan, but who knows? We don't know. Some people really still strongly believe that Ron Logan is involved. Chihuahua. Oh my God, that's so funny. Now I do get that when you put it like that. Oh gosh, that's funny. Oh God, that's funny. So yeah, so I just found it really, really bizarre that they're saying he met him down the pub. And it could be a coincidence or it could be, you know, as I said before, you're putting children, like dead bodies, okay? Because I don't think he killed them there, but he's put them there. He's gone and moved them onto private property, which means to me, I feel, if you're going to do that, you're familiar with the place. Usually people will put bodies in a place they're familiar with. They will kill someone in a place they're familiar with, usually. And, Jerry, oh my God, that's funny as. Yeah, so I feel that, you know, you could look at it this way, that he had a conversation with Ron. He was going to do this. You know, did Ron have knowledge? He may not have killed the girls or even agreed or wanted to be a part of anything. But I did find it interesting that cops were saying that his phone was pinged right above the girls' bodies at like 10 o'clock that night or something. But then I don't really know much about that either because, I mean, how would they know on his property if he's standing right above the girls or if he's in his lounge room or in his front yard? Like, you'd think that pings don't narrow it down that, you know, specifically. I wouldn't have thought so, but I mean, who knows? They would know more than I do. Yeah, as I said, I've never felt Ron's involvement with it. But at the same time, I could be wrong. It's just interesting they said they've met each other down the pub. And David was there. Whoever the hell David is, he was there. In a yellow car, running a yellow car. Could have been the getaway car. And they said he killed Libby. So they're saying that Richard Allen killed Abby and David killed Libby. That's what Spirit is saying. I'm not saying it's fact. We don't really know. Yeah, we don't know until we know. Just so bizarre. And they're saying, actually, Spirit said there's rumor that Dave did it. So Stephanie's saying the other girl, Jordan's sofa looks like Libby. She lived close to RA at one point in another town. It seems like he likes strawberry blonde little girls. I've never heard of Jordan. Who is she? Has she gone missing? And Cheyenne took a picture of the bridge and then claimed there were crosses in the pictures. Really? Yeah, I know some people have said they have seen crosses in the woods right there. That's interesting. And there is a David Erskine, volunteer firefighter who was there when they were found, and Abby's uncle. Now, that's creepy about the fire part because Spirit mentioned fire a lot, don't they? Chihuahua! You behave. Oh, yes. I know. They must have been terrified. And if two phones are together, they will show different colors on top of one another on a graph. Graph. So interesting. Okay, yes. And they must have used burner phones or something at once, like the other guys. And when I said, you know, because someone wanted to know was Ron Logan involved, and I said, no, Spirit said big family of boys. So there's a big family of boys involved here. Is it like a family as in blood family, or is it like a group of people, you know? And they're saying David had help. A yellow car involved, got in there, was running it. And hair was taken apparently from the scene. I believe there was other things, but it's interesting they're saying hair. And when I asked, because someone wanted me to ask this question, what evidence did the police have against Richard Allen? Spirit said, and I couldn't quite make it out, but when I very first heard it, I thought it said a little tablet. They actually said he has a little tablet, or it might have said cover, like a cover for something. And it would make sense if they were drugged that could be it, the tablets. Maybe there was a tablet found on the ground if they were drugged with something. And I don't know why you'd have his name on that. 7 days they split. Not sure what that means. 7 days they split. Maybe within a week everyone split up. I don't know. Delphi killer has killed before and had help. Yeah, we know that. And 8 victims apparently. Someone says in an hour. Yeah, she said more hair. What does that mean, guys? Yeah, at first they said hair and then they said more hair. And what the hell? Like, what does that mean? Oh, no, Chihuahua's saying the Lafayette Boys Club. What's that about? Is that like a family of boys, I guess? Guys, you know. Interesting. So I don't know much about that. I'd have to look into it. Someone says in an hour I need a driver. Or it could have meant I need a driver for an hour. Hide the car they're talking about. And tape her, which is recording. Tape her on a video, you know. Or her voice or whatever. And then they said stupid had his name on it. What did they have his name on? A video file? Audio file? The tablet? A cover of something? The bullet? You know, was there an engraving of his surname or something on the bullet? Like, what the hell could he have his name on? And obviously I don't believe it was his full name. It would have been like a surname. Or maybe an R for his name, or whoever the killer is. You know, the other killers could be their surname. So, yes, that's why I'm thinking there's been information given to the police last year before Allen was arrested, which, you know, gave them the right of way to go and search his property. Because you'd think a gun, like a bullet from a particular gun, you'd be able to look on the database and say who is registered in this area or wherever with this gun, like you'd think. I don't know that I can't say I fully know how the investigations are done like that, but it makes sense to me that they would do that. Yes, and isn't it funny? He still had the gun all these years. See, that's also his souvenir, isn't it? If he is, you know, I have to say allegedly the killer. So someone said girls are gullible. So they're saying they're gullible. Oh, yeah, maybe a tattoo on his hand of his name. Oh, yeah, could be. And David saw a bad cop. That's why they were taken to the private property. I didn't really understand that one too much. And what else do they say? And that's right. They keep saying a book. And that was really clearly said book. And then that's right. Then the spirit says straight after Guy left his phone. So did someone leave their phone there? I mean, how dumb would you be? I mean, if they took off fast, maybe they did. I don't know. It could have been Guy something else, his phone. Phone book. I don't know. If a book left there as a signature, did someone have their name like in the front page and not think about that? You know, maybe had their surname in there. And when it said gun, someone says they'll help him with it. They helped him with it. And I'm thinking, isn't that funny? Because obviously there was a problem with the gun. Yeah. So you have to check that Lafayette Boys Club out. That includes the infamous Judge Fouts and prostitutes. Wow. Interesting. So that's an authority connection. And, yep, they said RA's family recognised him. And they also said that the right guy has been caught and that the others involved will be caught. Let's pray, eh? Let's pray that happens, that justice will come in for these girls and all the other victims as well that there have been, I believe. Wow, guys, what do you think about all this stuff? It's just so intense. Do you have any questions that you'd like me to ask for the next spirit sessions that I do, and I'll write them down. What would you guys like to know? I'm not sure if this will record on a live thing after this is done, so I will ask it. I mean, I will write them down. So 79% of people believe Richard Allen is guilty going by this poll, and innocent 21% say. Okay, maybe, yes, what are we? So it was reported they got 5 terabyte evidence on RA. He might have filmed what he did. They got 5 terabytes of evidence. I never heard that. Geez, I don't read up enough. So that would be amazing. Yeah, because don't forget, they would have taken laptops and all sorts of stuff from his home. Wow. So what's Stephanie saying? Yes, just reading it. Yeah. So was it an intended kidnapping? Was kidnapping intended? And yeah, oh God, it is a horrible energy, Jennifer. I agree. Yeah, and some of it you don't know what's true and what's not, but oh geez. You know, there are people in Delphi who do know the details. Whether they've heard them directly from family, but I don't think the family know everything. I don't think they know everything. Jerry says, were they murdered by the same person? And what excuse is he going to use? He thought that was 18. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't even know if he... Well, it's weird because Spirit said he'll admit it. So, I don't know. Maybe they were talking about Kagan. But what excuse is he going to use? Will he use one? And were they murdered by the same person? What are your other questions? I know someone said something about, did they exit the Freedom Bridge or something? Was that yours, Chihuahua? What were the exit routes? I don't know the layout very well with that. I'd have to check it out. Thanks, guys, for being here. Welcome for those who are joining. We've been having a really interesting conversation tonight or today, wherever you are. Well, yes. I don't think, I'm telling you, I don't think we'll ever know exactly what happened at that crime scene. Even if some things are talked about, if by a miracle some things were admitted to, I don't believe we'll ever be told, you know, exactly what happened. It'd be interesting if the girls had a toxicology report done, because I do believe they were drugged. Which, as I said, makes sense why there was no fights, no struggles, no defensive wounds. They were either hit severely to the point where they were unable to fight, or they were drugged. How many involved are in custody, Jerry says. How many involved? Anyone got questions for my next spirit session? You can write them down. How many involved are in custody already? Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. Do you want me to ask anything about Kagan Klein or Tony Klein or anything? Because I didn't even think to do that. It's so bizarre. I was so focused on, you know, what happened to the girls and who was, you know, have they got the right guy and that kind of thing. What do the girls and spirits think about MS? What's MS? MS. No, Jerry, I don't believe they ever left the area. Ellie simply did not see them. Oh, now that's interesting, Stephanie. It's interesting because I'm pretty sure the report said there was no SA. But how do we know? You know, how do we know? There could have been, There might not have been evidence as such, but it could have still happened. I mean, this guy, I do believe it's mostly about control, and Spirit says it was karma for something to do with Abby's family, perhaps. I don't know what the hell that's about. But definitely control. Wanted to intimidate them and scare the crap out of them. That's what he was getting off on. So Jennifer says, I had a dream astral travel as a couple and ended up staring down, looking at the river like off a bridge, like RA described about watching fish. Ugh. Yeah, what a dickhead. Like, watching fish from that high up on the bridge? What a dickhead. You'd have to have really good, you'd have to have binoculars or something. God damn. You think people believe that shit? Two beautiful young ladies. Yeah, prayers for justice, all right. Miss Haunted Parlor, welcome. I can't divulge. I can't divulge. So you can't talk about what you've seen or, you know, in your visions. Do you know info you can't talk about? Charlie says, I put my request in the video thread. I think you saw it. Oh, maybe I did. Yeah, I probably did, actually. Sorry, my brain. I just forget things so much. I think you did talk about David. Was it David? I'm trying to remember now. I will go back and have a look. No, we haven't seen an autopsy. They never confirmed if SA happened. Okay. Yes. Miss Haunted Parlor says, yes, I have friends' info. So do you think that we're on the right track with this? Or do you think that it's completely something else, Miss Haunted? Because Chihuahua says, give us a hint. Yeah, we want one. Please. Yeah, but it's interesting stuff. Like when you think of all the layers involved, when you think about, I believe there are people in the area, obviously, who have information. There are people who have seen the videos. And I mean, if it's true that Ashley Garth or Michaela or whoever said they saw the videos, I mean, if that's true, where the hell did they get it from? How did they see it? Who had it that was close to them that they saw it? And is it even true? I mean, we don't really know. But you know what? Once again, Garrett Kurt's probably just getting attention, you know. But he did have connections with Ron. He had connections with Ashley Garth. And Ashley Garth's father was friends with Anna Williams. So, you know. And Derek German as well he's friends with. So there's connections there. Not saying that they're involved, obviously, but it's just interesting, the connections. I don't know. Jerry says, are we on the right track? Some, not all, but very interesting. I'm asking about a person who gave info to case. Yeah. So you want a question asked, do you, to Spirit, Miss Haunted? Yeah, I haven't actually read or heard, what am I saying? I haven't heard Murder Sheet's podcast for a long time. I'm sure they probably have a lot of, inside info. They have, I think, interviewed, a few people or something, and they do actually bring out a lot of stuff, don't they, that may have been an issue for the investigation. But at the same time, it's bringing it out there, like this truth. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining the live today. Feel free to ask any questions or let us know what you think about this case. Have they got the right guy? Are there others involved? Are we on the right track or the wrong track? No, not Murder Sheet. I think KK knows what happened. I just don't think he killed anyone. KK is more of an internet troll, but he had knowledge. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I really do. And I think, seriously, I think it was Chihuahua, I don't remember now, someone we were talking to said he'd be too freaking lazy going up on a bridge, I think he would be. He'd be someone, he's a coward too, like he would want to hide behind a screen. He'd hide behind the screen rather than going up, and doing all that stuff. And yeah, I just can't imagine him being on the bridge doing that doesn't mean he wasn't there. I mean, he could have been the getaway driver. We don't know. But I do absolutely believe he was behind the screen trolling. Yeah, Jennifer says, I can't imagine TK or KK getting off the couch. Yeah, I can't imagine TK wanting to put so much effort into that. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, absolutely. But do you remember that KK had various profiles going on through different apps and stuff and emails? And they said that there was an Emily N 45 profile made. I'm sure the number was 45. I'd have to go back and check the transcripts because I don't remember everything. But I remember he asked one of the girls, would you, do this with my dad or something? And it's sickening. That, was he talking about Tony? Was he talking about someone else? It's just interesting the age, 45. I mean, if that is the right number, Richard Allen was 44. Was he turning 45? I don't know. But it's interesting. Jerry says Barry Morphew was involved. You're interested in knowing, was he involved? I'm trying to remember who he was. Did he kill his son? Is he the one that killed his son? Yeah, KK was a catfisher, I believe it. I don't even know how, it does TK, is he really that good with technology? We don't know, but we know that KK was, and KK was also, I feel like he's young in his mind, like he's not mature. And how old was he? I can't even remember. How old is KK? 27, that's right. But being in his 20s, he's talking like a young person would talk as well. And also Richard Allen, allegedly, has children, so would also know how. I'm telling you, if he's a pedo, being in this ring of these perpetrators catfishing young girls, they know how to talk to young girls. We see all the time these policemen who get behind a screen and pretend to be a young girl so that they can catch these predators. And they know that these predators are saying things like they're on the same level as a teenager. So they talk the talk. I also found a big digital footprint on RA. He has that many accounts on Instagram using his phone number and home address as a username. Wowies. He also has a ton of fake accounts on Facebook. Seriously. I would love to find that. I'd love to go through that. And you know what? It's so bizarre because the Spirit Session just recently, she says he has an Instagram. Celebrate with Sarah. I don't know what that's about. I know Kagan Klein had an Instagram, but that could definitely be catfishing profiles. Especially if you're saying there's a number of them. Like many accounts, that's dodgy as. Dodgy. All right. So what? His wife went missing. So Barry moved to Colorado after the murders and his wife went missing. Oh, date of birth. Wow. Okay, Ricky Allen, 1972. Dumb. It's pretty dumb putting your home address there, isn't it? Oh, geez. So, God. And it's just annoying, too, because the witnesses, the witnesses that saw Bridge Guy, I think they said he was like maybe 5'6" to 5'10" or something, yet Richard Allen is short. Like he's 5'4". I'm 5'5", and he's 4'4". And so you would think that, I mean, fair enough, if they were young girls that saw him, they may not know going by, just seeing him. I mean, people don't really, unless they are a very suspicious character, really pay much attention to somebody and how tall they are. RA is Dipsy. Yeah, he's a bit of a weird one, isn't he, really? Like I think he's weird. I think he's two people, I'm telling you. I feel like Richard Allen is two people. He's got that real serious persona where he glares at you, and this other side of him that's really weird and goofy, and I don't know. But some people have said, oh, he's a really good bloke, like these people in Delphi who've like been around him say, oh, he's a loving father, you know, he's wouldn't harm a fly. And I think one guy I saw on another person's YouTuber's comments said that Richard Allen looked after his children, babysat them or something, and he was the loving guy. And I'm thinking, well, maybe with your children, you know, there's that thing going on, but what about the last video I did about married killers whose families and wives and all sorts of people and children didn't know? There's so many serial killers where their families are absolutely shocked to the core that the person they've, you know, been married to for 30 years or something, or a father who's so loving, is a serial killer. So, you know, they can put on a front. They know how to categorize who they're going to treat in a loving way and show empathy, although I don't know if that's just an act, towards, and who they're going to treat and, you know, victimize. So they're two people. Yeah. So do you guys have any other questions? Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we, you know, we could wrap this up very soon? Who was your main, I want to know, who was your main POI before Richard Allen was caught? And is this person, if it's not Richard Allen as your POI or was, is that person still your POI? I know some people still think it's Ron Logan. So who was your POI? Have you changed your view on that, or do you still stick to that? I know I was looking closely at Garrett Kurtz for a while, only because of the connections. Because that's what you've got to look at. Like, are they familiar with the area? Do they know the people in the area? How often have they visited the area? Do they have a connection with the victims? And Garrett Kurt ticked off all those things, even to the point of the height, the age range, and the hair color. So it was kind of like weird. Like, everything seemed to tick off with him. He was mine. I don't believe it now, but I wonder if he does have some kind of knowledge through Ashley Garth or, you know, Michaela. I don't know. There's something there. So Miss Haunted says, yes, she has the same POI, not anyone mentioned publicly yet. Now, that's interesting. Do you think that this person could be in a ring, Miss Haunted? Do you think that that person may have a connection with Ricky Allen? Jerry says, I have a few. And my friend's POI too. Interesting. So it's interesting you both believe somebody is that person. And are you in the area? You know, especially if you're in the area, you may know a lot more. Who is MS? My POI was flannel shirt guy from the beginning, but I didn't think he was BG. So you're thinking he's an accomplice. And that BG's lured them to maybe... Well, was he around the area? Did he live near there? That David guy, flannel shirt guy? Yeah, Stephanie says, I used to think Logan was involved. I don't anymore. Okay, Miss Horder says she's not in the area, but they definitely have a POI, her and her friend. Someone who has not been publicly mentioned. And Charlie says JKK. So I don't know who that is. Is that Jerry? Well, I don't know who that is. It's so, I know it's annoying because we can't really say names because we're kind of throwing names out there of people who could possibly and potentially be innocent. So I know we don't want to do that, you know, because we want to put initials on there. But the annoying thing is all the initials are like, who the hell is that, you know? Yeah. Yeah, rest in peace, Mr. Logan. I just don't get the idea that he did it. He may have had knowledge. I want to keep open-minded on that just because of some of the things he was doing around that time. I still find it interesting how he said in that interview with that blonde-haired lady, he said something along the lines of, they're looking at people who didn't do anything too much. And I think he was talking about himself, like they're looking at him who didn't do anything too much. And maybe he was talking about his DUI. I don't know. But, yeah, from day one, I've never really felt it was Ron. Jennifer says the photographer. So Charlie says he took care of the trails and the bridge. He was there every day pretty much. Okay, interesting. Yeah, we don't know. I know that a few people have him as a POI. I can't talk. He has been a POI, and that's what Spirit said. There's rumor that Dave did it. I really hope that we get more answers on this. And even I remember there was some press conference or something about Richard Allen being caught, and they're not letting us know what's in the what was it again? I can't remember. Help me out here. They said they can't reveal the info because there might be more people involved. And I've always thought that from day dot, that there's other people involved. And, you know, some people still believes it's just him on his own, you know, that he's the only one that's like it's a one-man show kind of thing. He's done it all on his own. And that could be possible. I think it would be highly, like a huge risk for somebody on their own to come across two girls, two victims. It'd be much easier taking one person off a trail. That's why I believe they were targeted. And geez, that scared me when Spirit said, take anyone that bitch has with you. Abby's on board. So that's just so bizarre. Jennifer says, please ask Spirit if anyone else will be arrested. I did actually ask that at the end of the Spirit session. I said, will the others be caught? And they said, yeah, they will. What's the Mohesians? So it looks like they will in time, hopefully soon. RA lawyers don't seem too confident in his innocence now. They're not pushing for bond. They must have seen more evidence. Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, if they're not confident now, they will know the prosecutors have something solid. Yeah, no, that's okay, Jennifer. That's fine. It was a very intense session, that one. Very intense. And there were a couple of things I left out of the recording I just felt were not something that I really wanted to put on the recording, you know. Yeah, so just, I mean, that's the only thing I took out from the recording was something that was done to the girls, but I'm sure you could imagine. What does the word dozier mean? So, yeah, as I say, there's always a trace left behind at crime scenes as well. And that trace was the bullet, unspent bullet, and DNA. I think they said they had the DNA. So is that what they caught Richard Allen with? I don't even know. Because they said they had DNA, but is that what they caught him with? I mean, that's a stupid question, because if they did, they would have caught him earlier. So maybe it's someone else's DNA that is linked to the Stevenson's case. Yeah. Or the DNA is just, I don't know, inconclusive. Maybe there's not enough of it, or it's been contaminated. I really don't know. I always questioned whether they really had DNA. And like Kagan Klein, when he did that search on how long does DNA last on a body or something, that's a pretty random bloody thing, isn't it? Like, why would you do that if you're not involved? Like, who does that? And he reckons he did it because he'd been questioned and wanted to go home and find out. I'm like, no, I don't believe that. Anyone know? So Dozy has a hit of medication. Wow, to make drowsy. Are you serious? Because that's what I saw. They were drugged. Wow. A hit of medication. So maybe he had sleeping tablets from home or something, came in. And because I do believe that they were drugged due to no struggle or fight. Those poor girls. They're going to get their justice. But I'm so happy they're in heaven as we know it. Yeah, there's way more evidence on Richard Allen. I'd love to know what else they got from his house. Did somebody say that the cops dug up I don't know, under the fire pit or something? They dug up something, didn't they? Why did he take their clothes off? Do we know that for a fact, do we? That their clothes were removed? Why did he take their clothes off? See, I don't remember everything that was in that affidavit. Why did he take their clothes off? It's a sign, I believe, it's a sign of humiliation. It's like degrading the victim. That's just a part of it, I feel, in his psyche, like that he wants to degrade them. Could have been his evidence on the clothing he wanted to remove if the clothing was taken. Underwear in the creek. So there was underwear in the creek. Well, that could be, well, you'd think you'd take it with you if you wanted to hide evidence, but water can also damage evidence. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's really hard to know why killers do what they do. I mean, why the hell were they staged? Why? And do you know what? I don't know if you saw the one that I did with the criminological profile video that I did on killers and why they stage crime scenes. But I'm telling you, killers that stage crime scenes are aged between 21 and 45 usually, and they are white males, and they know the victim. So they either personally know the victim or they are acquainted with the victim somehow. That's usually, most always, how it goes. Like when we look at Garrett Kurtz staging Ray Hainish's crime scene, he staged the body to look like an asphyxiation, I can't say it, that went wrong during a sex interaction, right? And he had admitted to open secrets that he staged it to look like that. But he was acquainted with Ray Hainish through texting, okay? So somehow they'd met up. But it wasn't just like he'd just gone to his door and met him randomly as a stranger. Like he had an acquaintance. So I feel like when Spirit said, Abby's on board, Rick, you know, for this meeting, take anyone she has with you. There's some connection with Abby, I'm telling you. Yeah, Chihuahua thinks that one of them. Yeah, what I find interesting is that after 6 years that no one has been cleared. Yeah, it is interesting. That's why I'm wondering, you know, the DNA thing. I don't know if they've got it, like enough or whatever. I don't know. Because you think of all the POIs, they'd be able to clear people. I mean, I would come forward if I knew I had my name out there as a killer and I knew that I had nothing to do with it. I would be like, here, take my DNA, you know, just clear me because everyone's freaking saying I'm doing this. You know, I would be doing that. And that's if they had DNA. So what do you reckon? Do they have DNA? I don't know. Because if they had DNA, they've got DNA from the Stevenson's case and they think it's linked to Delphi. And if they have DNA that's not matching to Richard Allen, it's matching to someone else. And if it is linked to the Stevenson case, then they'd have to match that with the same one, you'd think. But maybe that person's not in the system. And I think Chihuahua was saying that too, that DNA, you know, may not be in the system. So someone might not be in the system. But we know Richard Allen now is. We know Kagan Klein is. And Tony Klein's been arrested and charged before. He would have had his DNA taken, I am sure. I don't really know. But, yeah, it's interesting when you think about it. So are you saying, Ms. Haunted, that Ron Logan wasn't even cleared? Yeah, every killer says they're innocent at first. Yes, nobody has been cleared. Very interesting. Because if you're doing the elimination, you know, you'd want to clear some people as eliminating people. So eliminating suspects. So that's why I don't think the DNA is obviously not matching to people they may have already, you know, had in custody if there is DNA. No one has been cleared. That's interesting to me. So that person may not have been in the system at all. May not have a criminal record. So it's not Garrett Kurtz. It's not Kagan Klein. It's not Richard Allen, like in terms of if there is DNA. I don't even think, well, the DNA, the Stevenson's case isn't Richard Allen's. There's someone else. So Richard Allen is tied to Delphi because of that bullet casing and other evidence they have, I feel, with that. But the Stevenson's case is linked to Delphi because of the way it was staged. And this particular item that is linked to Delphi and the Stevensons that this guy that the police have been looking at owns. He has that item, whatever it is. But they would have taken his DNA. They've had somebody in their sights. They've questioned him. They would take his DNA, wouldn't they? And then he'd be cleared for, well, you know, maybe not cleared exactly for his involvement perhaps, but yeah, maybe he doesn't match the DNA. Yeah, Jerry says maybe we can have a session with RL. Man, he'd be pissed off, wouldn't he, having to talk about it? Innocent until they see what evidence LE have on them when they change their tunes. Maybe we can have a session. Yeah, so I could look into that. I always say I don't summon spirit as such. But, yeah, if he wants to come through, fair enough. I'd want to clear my name. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to Australia. Welcome to the world. We're in Australia here, the land down under. Where are all you guys from? That's what I meant to ask. That's what I always usually ask in the beginning of my sessions. Where are you guys from in the world? DC of killing, I think that's terrible. Accused Doug Carter of killing the girls, did they? Oh God, people will accuse anybody, you know. They just, I don't know, they just seem to just go right off. Like, look, I'm all for a conspiracy theory if there's corruption, but man, some things are crazy out there. And I do believe there is corruption in a lot of cases. But seriously, there's so many things that I've heard about in videos and stuff I've seen. I'm like, what the hell? You're reaching. Atlanta, Georgia. We've got Indiana, New Albany. Is it Albany, Indiana. And fantastic, guys. I'm so happy to connect with you on this live. I need to do more lives. Would you like me to do more lives on this so we can all have a chat about different cases and stuff? I think it'd be really cool. %82% say Richard Allen is guilty on the poll and 18% say he is innocent. I like Carter better than the sheriff. Yeah. Carter has a lot of passion in this, hasn't he? And, yeah, I don't believe he knows. What am I saying? I don't believe he did it. My God. Yes, awesome. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the live. I'm so happy you guys are here. And, yeah, it's like 2 o'clock, 2:30 here in Australia. What time is it there for you guys? It's probably late at night now. And that's another weird thing. When I did a spirit session back in, I don't know when it was now, in 2018 or 19, I think it was 2019, and I said to the girls, no, they actually, you could hear a girl's voice really clearly saying, it's TL. And I slowed it down and I, you know, put the microphone on it because I didn't have good equipment. So I wanted you to hear it. So I think I put reverb on it so it could be louder. And you can hear it clearly say, it's TL. And I'm thinking, is that another perpetrator? Like initials TL? I mean, or is it two people, one named, you know, one starting with T, the other with L? Or like, we don't know. And I mean, I don't even know if it's fact. I can't say that it's 100% fact until it is fact, you know. Wow, 222, yay. We love our angel numbers. Oh, God, some people think we're weird, I think. Yes, I remember that. You remember that, Jennifer. Cool. Wow, it's 12:47 a.m., guys, for Stephanie. Although I am a night owl, so it's not that surprising. Yes, guys, I'm so happy that you could be with me and also help, you know, with these clues, because I love talking with you because you guys bring in a whole new perspective with some things that I've never even thought of. And like just now, like people are telling me things I don't even know. Like there's different facts coming through from you guys that I had no idea about. So I think it's amazing. So if you do think of any other questions, you can always go back on the spirit session that I last did and put in the comment section any other questions that you can think of that you'd like me to ask. I don't know when I will do it, probably next week, but it can take me a long time to go through the messages and decipher what they're saying. It takes a lot of my energy. Sometimes it kills my energy. So I had to take a whole week to do the last one. So I will see what happens, and hopefully they can be as clear as they were and specific as they were too. I know some things are not, which I still don't know the answers to that, why they're not as specific. It would be so easy if they just said, you know, this person did it, this is their name, this is where they live, and this is what they did, you know. And, you know, in this last spirit session, they have come out so many times saying, yes, it's him, Richard Allen, it's him. I've asked so many questions. Do they have the right guy in custody? Did he do this? Who did this? I even said, who did this? And they say Rick. Like, that's not even a word that I use when I'm asking questions. I say Richard Allen. Spirit's coming through with the word Rick and Ricky. And when they're reenacting these conversations, they're saying Ricky. So somebody knows him personally who calls him Ricky. Did you see the video of RA holding a knife while putting something down for the orange cat? What? Where? Oh, you're kidding me. I think he was feeding him chicken, but him holding the knife was creepy. No, I didn't see that. I don't think I saw that one. No, I didn't see that. Interesting about the orange cat, because Spirit's mentioning the cats. And in my tarot session, there was one particular card that came out where there's a guy sitting down with short-shaved, reddish kind of hair with a beard, and he's got a cat on his lap, and he's got two dogs with him. And I'm just like, holy crap, that's so bizarre. Like, he has cats and dogs in his house. He looks like that. In one of his, you know, in one of his videos, he looked like that. So it's so bizarre how the cards can come through. Like, it's creepy. Complex is a broad word to use. Yes, and the other guy said unusual. They say unusual as well, don't they? Complex and unusual. So it's rare. And I'm pretty sure staged crime scenes are rare. And they are always done to usually steer the investigation away from themselves. But it's also, I think this was definitely an act of this guy, this killer or killers wanted people to find them. It's a shock tactic. He wanted people to find them that way. Yes, they use the word complex. Absolutely. This is a very personal thing for this killer, I feel. And it's interesting because they're 6 years apart. That one, the Stevensons, was done in 2011. And Delphi was in 2017. So I wonder if there's any in between, because they are saying it's linked to Delphi. So a killer, whoever the killer was or was there at the Stevensons, is linked to Delphi. What is the connection? You know, what is the connection between the Stevensons and the girls or Delphi? That's what I want to know. And were there other victims? Now, what is the similarities? The similarities between the cases is the bodies being staged, and just trying to think what else. Well, there's two people. It's a double homicide. That is a similarity. But when we're looking at the differences, well, one's an elderly couple and one or two teenage girls. So we're looking at a profile. Does he actually have a profile? One was inside someone's house, one was outdoors. But as we know, if there's more than one offender involved, there can be disorganized, perpetrators. There can be organized ones, and they might all do different things at the scene. I think Chihuahua said a microwave was turned upside down in the Stevensons. Like, things were turned upside down. And just so shows the bizarre mind this killer has. Just bizarre. It's really bizarre. And when you think about that, it's reversed. Like, things are reversed, like turned upside down. Like, it's almost like when you turn a cross upside down. Maybe I'm looking into it too much. But I'm just thinking, you know, someone's saying about religion or something. I don't know what it was. Someone's saying paganism, religion, cult stuff. If that is like kind of connected, and these guys were religious fanatics, was there a cross in the house they turned upside down? Makes you wonder. Because things were turned upside down, like reversing stuff. I don't know. What do you reckon? That's such a weird thing. Like, psychologically, that's freaking weird. Putting a microwave upside down. And what did you say, Chihuahua? I think you said there were items from other rooms put in other rooms that really didn't match the room or something. He turned photos down. He left some up. Yeah. DNA are the only connections I can think of, and the staging. Yeah, but the other connection that the coppers know that we don't is that item. Because he said there's a guy that holds an item that is linked to the Stevensons and the Delphi case. And they had to question that guy why he had that particular item. And he's given an explanation, whatever that is. My brain, I'm so curious, I need to know what that item is. I'm going to ask Spirit. That's my question. I probably shouldn't, but I want to know. What's the item? Is it jewelry? Is it a weapon? Is it a book? Because Spirit keep going on about a book. Yeah. It's bizarre. And how many of you think a trucker might be involved here? Works in a factory, boots, that kind of on the road, bit of a transient maybe. A bit rough around the edges. And obviously, whoever went to the Stevensons' residence, I believe, has been in that house before. He knows the place. He knew how to get in through that gated community. How the hell did he get through a secure, what was it, a bunch of units or something? So he had a key. Somehow he got in there. And did they not have CCTV footage or something back then? I don't even know how long ago they had them. But it sounds like they didn't have it in that area. Trying to remember when they came out. I can't remember. But you'd think, wouldn't you, that if there's a place that's gated, like a gated community, and that's secure, then you'd think that there would be cameras or something else. And this guy, there was no break and enter with that Stevenson case. So he had a key, or he just, maybe a window was open. I don't know, though. I doubt this older couple would have left windows open or something. But we don't know. We don't really know. But there was no break and enter. And he was there at like 4 a.m. or something, I think. Maybe between 1 and 4. I can't remember now. I'd have to look into it. But he knows the victims. Yes. He could get in there. Was it a spare key? Somebody, I think, said that they were pretty closed off, though. They wouldn't just open their house to anybody. I don't think they'd just give a key to a trucker. Maybe family. And I think the nephew was looked at with that. But he might have been cleared. And Evansdale people are saying, that's another one I'd like to ask a question about. Would you like me to ask about Evansdale? I think I will ask that. Is there a connection? It's another double homicide. Not far off the area there. Very interesting. So thanks, guys, for being here. As I said before, I really appreciate you jumping on and talking about this with us. And also thank you to my mods. You know, I've got a beautiful moderator here, Chihuahua. She's awesome. Yeah. Yep, I will. I'll ask about Evansdale. Once again, 2 young girls, similar kind of ages, found outdoors in a woodland I don't know what. Well, I don't know if they were staged. I mean, you'd think that the investigators would say so because they've said it in other cases that, Delphi and Stevenson's, that they have leaked that info that those cases were staged. The bodies were staged. So why would they not say that about Evansdale? And that's why I'm wondering: is there a connection? And hang on, what year was Evansdale? Was that 2012 or 2011? I can't remember. Yes, interesting. And sometimes serial killers will go years, sometimes, very unusual though, but they can go a few years without killing. And some will kill like a few victims within a short time. Yeah, they're going like this spree. And it's just bizarre. If there's more than one killer, this has to be thoroughly planned out, I think. Yes, Chihuahua, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. You are all amazing. Putting all our intuition and our minds together, it's the logical and the intuitive together. It's what, police use that as well. They have a gut instinct they go on. Obviously, it's logical. They need facts and they need evidence, but they also do their research. They also trust in their gut. There is such thing as gut instincts in the police field as well. Wow. So, guys, I think I'm going to close this off now. 2012, you're saying? Yep. 2012. Okay, I'm going to look into all that. It's very interesting. And it is interesting that Spirit said that one of the perps is a Southerner and he's white. So that's Kentucky area, I've been told by someone here. And a Boilermaker. What do Boilermakers do again? Can't even remember. I have to look it up. I don't know much about it. But, yeah, someone said there was a Boilermaker area, like a factory or a university or something. Oh, absolutely. LE are holding a lot to their vest. Yeah, there's a lot we don't know. I think we'll be surprised, when it comes out. Hopefully it will come out. Purdue University's mascot is Boilermaker. And is that in Indiana or is that somewhere else? Oh, machine fixing. Okay. Yeah. It's also a cocktail. Wow. I didn't know that. I'm learning so much stuff today, even about the eggplant. That was so funny. Oh, my God. But as soon as Chihuahua put them in the emojis, like the emojis, I then got it. Oh, my Lord. So funny. In Indiana. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it just blew my mind when Spirit was saying, that Old Town Road, horses in the back, and now they're talking about the stables. And Richard Allen would often go horse riding with his wife at the stables. And he had a photo with horses in the back, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at Jennifer's emojis here. Oh, Chihuahua. We do have to have a bit of a laugh with this serious stuff, my God. Otherwise, it just really consumes you, Flannel shirt guy graduated from Purdue University. Really? Wow, there is a connection right there. Yeah, wow. So I'm getting hungry. I'm going to go and have some late lunch, guys. I'm so happy you could be with me today. We're going to do another live session soon. Once I do, maybe, I don't know, someone wanted me to look into the Idaho 4, okay? I will see what I can do. I really want to put a lot of my focus on this second Spirit session with Abby and Libby and ask your questions. And I also want to perhaps, I don't know, there's another case I wanted to look at as well with Tio Hayes. I wanted to see, somebody did ask me if I could do a Spirit session on him. I will see if I can make a connection. I don't want to spend too much time, only because I have done quite a few on his case in the past. But I would like to maybe do a 10-minute, 20-minute session on that and see what comes through. I am interested in the Idaho 4. Some people are saying they feel there's corruption. I have no idea what that's about. All I know is that they've caught a guy and he looks looks a bit weird to me. Yeah, I don't know about it, but I will take a look at it. It's just a very sad case that all 4 of those kids got stabbed. Oh my God. And interesting, I think, Chihuahua, did you send me the picture of I don't know, there was a photo of the unit or somewhere, or what do they call it, the campus where they stayed in their dorms or something, and there looked to be like a spirit, like an apparition of one of the girls. Like, as you know me, I believe in this stuff. I believe we're all energy and we can manifest ourselves. Like spirit can manifest themselves. As I said, I don't have all the answers, but I believe it. I've seen stuff myself, and unless you've actually experienced something from spirit or from the other side, or really weird things you can't explain, then you'd get it. Stay safe and love you all. Libby was taking a class at Purdue as well, was she? Thank you for your inputs and on the hunt for MS and a truck. Ask Spirit about MS, please. Thank you all. This has been great. Much love. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Take care, and we will catch up next time. Mwah.